Hi, everybody. Jim Graywolf here from beautiful Sedona, Arizona. I want to talk a little bit about tradition and custom and ceremonies here. I thought I'd start with the background of that's the beginning of Sacred Stone Camp at Standing Rock, LaDonna Brave Bull Howard's camp, where I was a lot of times. So, ceremony. I do a lot of ceremony. I lead a lot of ceremony. I've been taught a ton of ceremony by many different cultures. Lakota, Mayan, my own, Lenape, um, Romney Gypsy, on and on and on. Garifuna. I mostly perform Lakota ceremonies because my primary teachers were Lakota. My blood is a mix. I'm a mongrel. You know, ceremonies are incredible, and honoring the traditions is so important. I totally agree, but it's not the whole thing. It's definitely not the whole thing. I know my teachers, especially Two Bears, my primary teacher was Lakota, an elder teacher, um, many things. Shaman for sure, one of the few real ones I've ever met. Um, he told me that, as I walk this road, because I am a mongrel, I am mixed, some native blood, some white blood, some brown blood, a little bit of everything in me. I'm a nice pastel mix. That I would perform things and learn things that I could share between cultures. And that when the time of the big change came, I was to help create some new ways of doing things, to supplement, to augment the old. So we keep the old. I can pour a traditional Lakota lodge, a traditional Mayan lodge all the time. I've done hundreds. But I can also create something new or working something new like willow lodges that I was taught by a good friend not long ago, which were created by the Amish and the Native Americans back east. So there's a lot of different things we can do. Um, we're working on some of that now here at my place, Eagles Roost Sanctuary in Lake Montezuma, Arizona, about a half hour from Sedona. Hmm. Forgive me, allergies. I do want to tell you the little story from the other day. It was a ceremony day for me. I married a couple in the morning. I also do that, and I am a registered minister for that part, just so we get everything legal. In the afternoon, I did a naming ceremony I was asked to do. In the evening, I had a meeting with some friends, and we were talking over ceremonies, prayers. We were talking over the rallies that happened this past Saturday. And at the end of the wedding that I officiated at, I heard a story. I invited some people to a lodge. I'm thinking it's time to do a lodge here at my place again. And the one gentleman, it was Anglo, wanting to learn more, um, said, "Oh, I went. You mean a sweat lodge?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh, I went to one. Oh my God, never again, never again." And I said, "Oh, gee, why? Why is that?" "Oh, I went to this one and I traveled to get there, and I was invited, and I got there, and I didn't know much, I admit, and I was in this lodge, and I only lasted what do you one round, what do you call one door?" I said, "Yeah, one door. I only lasted one. I thought I was going to die. I thought my blood was boiling. I thought, I mean, all those things, and we go through. I did it. I lasted two doors on my first lodge. I was scared to death, and I thought I was dying too. So he lasted one door. He came out, and he respectfully sat the fire. He sat there at the fire, um, which is fine, perfect. If you have to leave, you leave. But then at the end of the lodge, and it was a really hot lodge apparently, whoever was pouring the lodge was bringing in extra rocks and pouring a lot of water. And he had more than one new person in there. So I questioned his judgment, shall we say. And just doing that, I questioned it. because this fellow who was telling me was not the only one who had to leave. Was it done to force them to leave, to make them face their fears? I don't know. But when I pour lodge with a lot of new people, I go easy. I definitely go easy. It's hot, but it's not ungodly hot. It's not as hot as I do it if I go in with a lot of brothers and sisters who have done many. But anyway, when the lodge was done, everybody came out of the lodge who was left. There were three sitting the fire who had left. One, the person who was telling me. The other two got up and moved off. They headed to where they were going to have the meal afterwards. But four men came up to this man who had been in the lodge, and they said, so that's all you could do, huh? Was one? And he goes, yeah. It was so hot, and he said, I got afraid, and yeah. And they said, oh, it's all right. You couldn't look into yourself properly. Now, again, I have to say, come on, are you kidding? Where's your judgment? Why would you say that? He did the best he could in a totally new situation, but they did. And then they said, well, and the way this usually goes when we're done, we come out in the river there, you jump in the river. And this gentleman said, oh, that's not going to be me, that's for sure. And they said, yes, it sure is. And the four of them came and grabbed him and threw him in the river. Absolutely petrified him. He thought his heart was going to stop. Those who have done a sweat lodge, you know what it's like coming out of that hot lodge and jumping into the water. You have to be prepared physically, mentally, spiritually. They threw him in the water. And then they went in and helped him get out of the water. What in heaven's name? What in Creator's name? What in the Mother's name would cause anybody to do that? Makes absolutely no sense to me. None. Their words afterwards were saying, well, they were preserving tradition. They were doing things in the old way. And they went on and on about this. Okay, then you have to have understanding of what you're going into in a lodge. Who's there? When I pour a lodge, I want to know who's going to be there. I want to know what their experience is, if any. Anything like it. Why are they there? Why are we there? You have to really prepare. And Two Bears really, really pounded that into me. And I understood how important it was. But this is an instance to me of not adapting. Again, I do some lodges here and we do them differently. I do traditional lodges and then I do some where anybody can sing when they wish. Okay. I'll have more than one or two rounds going around. People can talk with respectfully when they ask for the talking stick. Um, I've led some with a female friend, and those were really powerful. And so it's keeping the old, honoring the old, the traditions, the ways. It's also creating some new ways, and it's sharing our ways. Part of the prophecies were at this time, we're in it now, folks. We are in that huge time of change. That we were to come together and share our gifts. I'm doing the best to share mine, and I'll do it until the day I die. And I don't care what anybody thinks or says. I'm in integrity. Doing things the way my teachers taught me. And most of the people I know, I'm thrilled to say, are doing the same. There's exceptions, and I see others. So I just wanted to share that. I wanted to talk to this man more. I have his information. I'm going to reach out to him. I don't want him to finish his experience that way and keep that in his heart. That's wrong. That's not what this is about. Going into a lodge is not to suffer. Not at all. It's to clear. It's to open. It's to pray. It's to be there for everybody, for the circle, not just yourself. I just wanted to share that story. If any of you have instances of things like that happened, I'd love to hear. I really would. Because maybe we need a go around on this. Maybe we need some circles to talk. Online, virtually is fine, or physically. That's it for now. Love you all. See you again soon.